Hi, this is Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. I'm coming to you tonight to show you the different pole bean seeds that I have. This will be the fourth in my Seedsapalooza series where I just share all of the seeds that I have. I would love to hear what you have, so please just drop in the comments if you have a certain seed that you love to grow. If you see one of them that I have that is really prolific and you've grown it before, please let me know. If I mention that I haven't grown it, please let me know if it's a really good seed and I'd love to give it a try. I'll try to work it into my garden somehow. I normally break things down. It seems like it always works out to where I break things down between heirloom, hybrid, let you know if it's just open pollinated and hasn't been designated an heirloom yet. But I was looking over my pole bean seeds before I was getting ready to do this video tonight, and it looks like just about everything I have is heirloom. I don't even think I have any hybrid pole bean seeds, and that shocked me because I did not intentionally set out to only buy heirloom pole bean seeds. I just order what I want to order. Of course, I always see heirlooms that I really want, and there's some companies that are specifically heirloom seeds, so when I order from there, I know I'm getting heirloom. But a lot of things I just grab, when I'm at the feed and seeds or the co-ops, and just to add to my collection if it's something that I don't have. And I really didn't realize that every seed that I have is basically an heirloom. I have a couple of little seeds right here, 4 packs that are open pollinated, which just means they're the same as an heirloom. They just haven't been designated an heirloom yet. They're seeds that you can grow these and then take the seed from them, plant them, and get the same plant. They function just like an heirloom. They just haven't been around long enough, I guess, to be designated an heirloom. But they're still an open-pollinated seed. All heirlooms are open-pollinated. These are open-pollinated as well. They just aren't called heirlooms. But I'm going to jump right in. I am going to only break it down a little bit. I'm going to show you real quick these seeds that are open-pollinated. Then I'm going to show you all the heirlooms that I have. I do have a couple that are just designated as half runners, and then I have a couple that are designated as runner beans. And I'll get to those at the end, and I'll kind of tell you what the difference is between a regular pole bean and a half runner or a runner. And we're just going to rock and roll. We're going to jump in. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to slip little pictures in of these beans as I talk about them that'll flash on the screen. And what I did was I've just used the pictures off of the websites of the companies who I mention. So if I mention a seed, for instance, from Baker Creek, I will use their picture to go with that seed. I felt like that was the only way I should do it, is to use their picture from their seed packet or, their website. So if I show a picture, it's the picture from that website that goes with the pack of seeds that I have. Some of them, like the ones I get from the co-op, I don't have a picture of those. I might use one picture that I have of one of the beans that's really good. So I might slide that in there. But all the other pictures you see will be from these websites of the seed companies. So let's jump right in. I'm going to show you the open pollinated seeds first. 3 of them, well, I believe all of them that I have are from Territorial Seeds. Territorial carries a lot of open pollinated seeds. The first one is called the Limca Romano seed. And this is the Romano beans, are they're wider and a little flatter. They're kind of like the Italian green beans. So I look forward to growing this. This second one is called a bingo bean. And it's just for dry, to let it dry on the vine and eat it as a shelled bean. And last year I grew a lot of the shelling beans, and I really enjoyed it. Some of them were limas, some of them were just regular pole beans, but I really enjoyed doing that and just letting them dry on the vine and harvesting those seeds. There's just something very gratifying about harvesting those seeds at the end. I just love it. This is the Malibu snap bean. Territorial Seeds. These are green as well. And then last year I grew this one. It's called the Golden Gate Romano pole bean. I grew this one, And I harvested some fresh beans, put them in Ziplocs, put them in the freezer, and I canned them at the end of the season. But I let a few dry on the vine just so I could harvest a few seeds. So I have these seeds that I could always grow again. And this one grew really well. It makes a really long, wide bean. Okay, we're going to jump into my heirloom seeds. I have a good many, not near as many as I have bush beans, but I have a good many. I'm going to start with the ones that I have from Seed Savers Exchange. I hope you've given Seed Savers a try. They not only do they sell heirlooms, and they're just a good company, and they're preserving heirlooms, but also they're one of the companies that will offer these larger packets of seeds. And really, the value for me is really in buying these larger packs. That's why I do end up buying a lot of larger packs from the co-ops. Some in my garden, some of my rows are 80 to 100 feet long. And if I decide to just do one type of plant on that whole row, usually I can double row plant it as well. So, I might end up planting 300 something seeds out there to do a bean or something like that. So just to order a little packet that has 40 to 60 in it for $3.95, that can get expensive. If you order, say, a pound pack like this one, you can get 1,000 seeds in there, sometimes for $10.95, $11.95, something like that. So it really is bang for your buck. Better to do it this way if you think you're ever going to need them, or if you want to share them with people or things like that. If you just want to try out a pack and just see, of course, just the $3 or $4 pack is the best. But this pole bean is called Ideal Market. And I'm going to grow that this year. I put it in my plan. This bean goes way, way back. It's a very old heirloom, but it's from New Orleans, Louisiana. And everything I've read about it is that it grows prolifically, and that it puts off a beautiful bean. So I'm going to try it this year. The next one I have is a shelling bean. It's called the Mayflower. And this is the bean. It's a beautiful little bean, kind of rosy and white, speckled. I grew it last year. I'm not going to lie, it didn't do really well for me, but I'm going to give it another chance. I've explained that 2020 my gardens were great. 2020 I had no trouble whatsoever. 2021 was a struggle year for me. I planted a lot of things just in the hope that I would have time to take care of them. It was also very dry. And also, I didn't run my drip irrigation, so a lot of the times what watering was done on my plants, I was just running around with sprinklers and things. And I just feel like they didn't get all that they needed out of me last year. But this year, it's not in my plan to put that one back in, but I am going to give it a try again. I think it's going to be a great bean if I can get it going. This is the turkey crawl. It's from Seed Savers. And I saved seeds from the turkey crawl plant last year. These little seeds right here, and they make a pretty little brown seed. And I grew the Hidatsa Shield last year. These are all that I have from saving seeds last year, but I have I counted them at some point. I wrote on here I have 253 in this little jar, and the seed packet probably came with 60 in it, so I did pretty good saving seeds last year. I'll have plenty to grow from that again. A company that I love to peruse their website. It's nothing fancy. It's just a small company out of Calamus, Iowa. But it's called Sandhill Preservation Center. And they really, really grow out a lot of different heirloom types of seeds. Just seeds that you hardly hear about all the time. They grow them out and sell them. And I just hope they do so well. This is a Kentucky Wonder Wax. And it's probably been around a long, long time. I just didn't realize that you could get a wax bean in a Kentucky Wonder. Wax beans are yellow. And I'm familiar, with the Kentucky Wonder green beans that grow all the time. I just didn't realize they made a Kentucky Wonder yellow wax bean. This is called the tobacco worm. Tobacco worm, and it's a little green bean. I bought the Barnes Mountain. And I will tell you, I bought that because, and I wrote on the back what the website said, that it will grow in just terrible conditions. It will grow in sandy soil. It said for their trials, they didn't really have anywhere to put it, so they just kind of plunked it out in some sandy soil, and it just thrived. So, and that it's very good for drought conditions. So I can tell you that's why I grabbed that one when I saw it on the internet. This one is called the Connecticut Wonder. And it's kind of a yellowish tinted, greenish yellow tinted bean. This one's called the Sicilian Black Swamp. Probably that name grabbed me. So I got that one. It's a green snap bean. And this one is called the Old Time Cut Short. It's a greasy pole bean. A lot of your beans that come out of Appalachia might be referred to as greasy beans, which just means they have kind of a sheen on them that makes it look like they have a little grease on the beans. And when you see that word cut short, old time cut short, that's to explain how the beans look and how they grow. You see these beans right here? You see how long and oblong they are? Well, a cut short bean, they might start out like apart and then they grow together. And they just keep pressing up against each other until they smash in on the sides. So they don't have these long oblong beans in cut short beans. They mash up against each other, and sometimes they just kind of come out looking square, like you had took some brown and served rolls and mashed them up against each other. And so it's really interesting how they grow like that, but that's what they call cut short beans. The last one from Sand Hill is just a very, very minute amount. See those black beans? It's called Aunt Mary's Meat pole beans. I planted these last year. I think I waited too late to plant them because it said on the website that it needs very, very warm soil to grow, to not plant it too early, and to only plant it when it was warm. So, in my thinking, I didn't plant it like in March or 1st of April and all like I normally plant a lot of my green beans here in South Louisiana. I think I waited later than that to let it really, really warm up. Maybe, to the soil temp was almost 80 degrees. And it was funny because only about 6 germinated, only about 6 plants. And only one of those 6 really thrived. I mean, it just started climbing up my netting and did really good. The rest of them just kind of sat there and never really got more than a foot tall and didn't vine out at all. I think there's a difference between waiting to plant late up in Iowa and waiting to plant late in South Louisiana. And I just was not discerning, that their growing conditions are probably different from ours. I should have thought about that, but I was just thinking plant late, plant it when it's really warm. But I think I waited a little too late, and our heat down here really attacked it pretty good. But the one plant that did grow and that did climb up my vines, I just didn't harvest any beans off of that. I let them sit there and dry, and I saved those few seeds. So I'm going to try it again. I might just put a little pole out this year and plant those few out and just see what happens. From Renee's Garden, it's a nice little company to order from. I bought these beans called the Spanish Musica. They're supposed to be a beautiful bean, and it says it's very, very productive, very productive. A lot of times that's what gets me because, if you're going to take your time and grow a pole bean and you're going to put up the poles and the netting and all that stuff, to really have one that is so productive and that just thrives and, just almost wants to sag on your netting and grow so good, that there's just no feeling like that. This is from Johnny's. It's called the Marble of Venice pole bean. And it's a yellow pole bean. Beautiful, beautiful pole bean. I ordered, as I've said before when I was talking about bush beans, I ordered this year from Clemson University. You can go on their website, just Google Clemson University Heirloom Collection, and they have kind of a simplified website. You have to just basically cut a check, and write your order on paper and send it in to them. But they have some varieties that are just very rare. I even found some varieties on their website of things that originated in Louisiana, that they're preserving over there at Clemson. So Usually if I stumble across a variety from Louisiana of something, I'll get it. This first one that I ordered from them is called the Griggs Black Bean. And it's like a pole butter bean. You can let it be a snap bean, or you can leave it on the vine and let it dry and kind of harvest it like a dried butter bean. Looking forward to growing that one. And this one is called the Paturge Head Bean. It's a snap bean as well. It's out of Fentress County, Tennessee. So I look forward to growing some of those rare heirloom beans that Clemson is trying to save. This one is called an asparagus bean. Let's see, it's a Kuro Sanjako's asparagus bean. And asparagus beans grow really long. Sometimes, you know, I think you're really not supposed to harvest them until they're about 24 inches long. These, from what I could tell on the internet when I looked it up, they just grow a long, skinny bean. My aunt had told me last year that they had grown some long beans, and I really enjoyed them. I've never done that yet, so I'm going to have to try that at some point. This one and these are from Annie's Heirloom Seeds, if I didn't say that a while ago. This one is called the Lazy Housewife Pole Bean. And this pole bean is really just supposed to be prolific and doesn't need much attention. And you don't have to, a lot of them you have to pick every day almost, you know, when you pick, they get more and more productive. So you want to pick a lot. Well, a couple of varieties, you know, aren't that needy. They'll let you pick every few days and still be prolific. I think Lazy Housewife is like that. This company I love. It's called Sustainable Mountain Agriculture Center. I've ordered off of there several times, and I just love this company. This one is called a Spangler bean. Now, I wrote on here that it's a yellow bean. I guess I saw that somewhere. On their website, it doesn't say that. But I must have done some research at some point, because I specifically took that paper out and wrote yellow bean on it. But look how beautiful these beans are. Look how beautiful that is. They're kind of a grayish brown, just almost taupey looking bean with like a yellow eye. They're just gorgeous. Here's another one of those cut short. You can have a greasy bean that's not a cut short. Or you can have a greasy bean that just looks like a regular pole bean, regular green bean. And or you can have a cut short that's not greasy, you know. But it seems like the few I have right here are called greasy cut shorts. But this one is called the Hedrick Greasy Cut Short. And that's the bean behind it. It's a little, almost like rosy tan. This one is the Grady Bailey Greasy Cut Short. White seeded bean. And then last year I grew, this is the coon bean. Last year I grew these on the trellis, and they were beautiful. They did so good. I ended up having a little worm problem at the end, but before that, they looked gorgeous. And I harvested a lot of them as just regular snap beans and put them up. But I let some specifically stay on there because I really wanted the seeds from those beans so that I could grow them again. And this is the coon bean seeds. They made really big brown seeds. Large seed for a green bean like that. So I have plenty. I have probably 2.5 times more in this pack than I had in the original pack. So I'm very happy about that. The ones that I have from my co-ops that I shop at around here. This is a 1-pound pack of the Blue Lake beans. I read one time that this is one of the varieties that a lot of the companies use when they make canned goods, you know, that we buy at the store. It's like a dependable bean that grows really good. I'm not sure if that's what they use all the time now. They might have developed a different variety, but it's a very dependable old heirloom bean. And I've grown it twice already, and it's beautiful. And it really sets some beans. You can go out there in the morning and may not see a whole lot to pick, and it seems like you go out in the afternoon and there's just beautiful beans hanging there. It's very productive, very prolific. So I'm going to grow about 20 feet of this one, both sides of the netting, so 40 feet technically this year. I hope it does good. This is the good old Kentucky Wonder. I have several of these packs. I'm just showing you one, but I have several of these packs. But it's the Kentucky Wonder bean. These do really, really well too. They're a little bit more, they're not a Romano bean by any means, but they're a flatter bean. The Blue Lakes are round green beans like you see in the cans. These are a little more flat, but they're an old heirloom. The next bean that I have a lot of seeds for too is the rattlesnake pole bean. And this bean is just so pretty. It's green, sometimes light green, sometimes a little darker green, but it has the purple streaks on it. And I grew it, I guess it was the fall of 2020, and it did really, really good. And I had a hornworm issue that arose on it. I couldn't really find the hornworm, but it just really tore into this plant. I was almost to the point where I was just going to cut it off at the roots, pull the vines off the trellis, and just be done with it because the hornworm had really got a hold of this plant. But there was a part of the plant that was still doing okay on one end of the netting, and it had some beans hanging on it. So I said, well, I'll just wait and see. Well, I'm going to tell you, the whole plant came back. Almost the whole 20 feet or so I had planted all grew back, kept on going, kept putting out beans. So it was just amazing. It's definitely a bean to grow if you want to put up food. Not all heirlooms are dependably that productive, but the rattlesnake pole bean is a very dependably productive bean if you want to grow that in your home garden to make sure you have a lot to put up in jars. So I would highly recommend it. I would highly recommend this one as well. This is the Louisiana purple pod pole bean, and it is very prolific as well. The beans are irregular sizes. They don't put off just 5 and 6 inch beans all up and down the row. Some of them come off huge. Some of them never get really big, and they might curl or whatever. But that's okay. It's an heirloom, and it's not all bred for exact production. That's just the right size to put in canning jars and things like that. These are true heirloom seeds. And so I think you'll enjoy growing this one. It was one of the first ones I ever grew and spoiled me because it's very productive. It's a purple bean. When you go to cook it, it turns green. But when you grow it, it is a deep, deep purple bean that is just beautiful. It's gorgeous. This one I'm growing this year. I've got it. It's just a little pack of beans. I think 25 in the pack, I believe. And it's from the South Georgia Seed Company. This is the beans on the back. It's really a deep, deep blue bean, even though it probably looks black on my camera. But it is called the Blue Shakamaxon. And I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know if it's going to like growing in South Louisiana. But I just thought I'd try it. I only have one pack of seeds from this company in my pole beans. And this is just an unusual bean. So you grow it to not be a green bean. You grow it to have a dry shelled bean. So I felt like, well, if I can grow it and not really worry about harvesting to eat it, and it's not something I'm worried about selling. This is just, I do reserve a few little spots in my garden to just grow things I want to grow. Some things I grow with selling in mind and, hoping for production for sales. But I have a few spots in my garden that are just for me, and this is one of them. I'm just going to try this little bean. And what I'm hoping is that I can just harvest enough of them off there to really grow this seed collection and really perpetuate my seeds for this bean. I have 25 now. Maybe I can end up with a few hundred, 500 or so seeds before it's over with. You never can tell. From Fairy Morse, I only have one pack, but it's Kentucky Wonder, rust-resistant pole beans. My other pack of Kentucky Wonder doesn't say rust-resistant, but I hope they are. From Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. It's another good company I enjoy ordering from. This is the Aunt Ada's Italian pole bean. It's a snap bean. They have Grandma Nellie's yellow mushroom. Now that sounds interesting. It's kind of a pale yellowish white snap bean, and it looks on their picture to kind of have some pinkish seeds. We're going to have to see. I haven't opened these seeds to really look at them, but we're going to have to see. Another one I selected was called a Cherokee Cornfield. Cherokee Cornfield. And the McCaslin. The McCaslin I see in a lot of different catalogs, so a lot of you may have grown that. This one is called the Ant Bees. Ant Bees. I love these names of these. I hope they come out so good. Okay, from Baker Creek. I always love to get seeds from Baker Creek. I have not grown these before, but they're called the haricot tarbay beans. They're like the big white beans that you would put in a cassoulet, it says. I ordered the slippery silks bean. It's a pink pole bean. That is unusual. The last one is the greasy grits beans. It's one of those greasy pole beans, probably out of Appalachia. From Baker Creek last year, I ordered a bean called Fort Portal Jade. Fort Portal Jade. It's a dark, almost grayish green bean. Just came in a little pack like this, you know, and I grew them. And look how many seeds I was able to save from that. And these were very prolific. They grew well. I was proud of them. Also from Baker Creek last year, I had the Good Mother Stollard beans. They're purple and white. And I ended up with a good many more seeds than I started with. So just trying to grow those collections. Some things I grow, I'm not so much worried about eating them right then. I just kind of want to try it. And then if they do okay, I might save the seeds. And then that gives me even more to plant later for a really bumper crop later. I might just give a few feet to it one year, save the seeds, and then, you know, plan on later giving it a lot more space in my garden and really trying to grow it to put up. But sometimes, you know, if you're ready to eat it, you just eat it. The last company, and I was so sad, I looked on the website a while ago just to see if they had any pictures. They're still in business. It's not that they're not in business, but it's Appalachian Heirloom Plant Farm. Now, I found them on the internet somehow at some point last year, and I ordered 5 or 6 packs of seeds from them. And I got on there tonight to look for pictures, and it said that they had an extremely wet year last year, when it was cold as well. So they were having to plant a lot later than they expected, and then it started raining really bad. And they said they ended up having to plant 2 and 3 times to try to get plants to germinate, and used a lot of seeds to do that. So, and they still, I think, were having some trouble because of the conditions last year. So they decided to just stop their production, stop growing. Whatever they grew last year, they decided just to build up their own seed bank again. So they have cut off sales for 2022. So that was kind of sad. I didn't really need anything, you know, but I love being able to go back to some of these sites. Like if I grow a certain bean this year, you know, and I really love it, go back to that site and go ahead and order some more for later. But they are having no more sales for 2022. However, I'm going to put in the description of this video all the different websites of the seed companies that I'm talking about tonight. Please keep Appalachian Heirloom Plant Farm on your mind. Write down the website for it from my notes and try it later, because they will be back. I'm sure in 2023 they'll have a bumper crop. But they just decided to preserve their seed bank and to not waste any seeds, and not sell the ones that they did have to where they were in a really, really short supply for being able to plant for their own plant farm. So I can understand that. But they carry a lot of them from the Appalachian area. That's the title of their company. And the first one I ordered is called Big Greasy. It's one of those greasy beans I was telling you about. This one is called the Quentin Fraser greasy bean. And I did grow that last year. See, I only have a few seeds left in the pack. I just threw a few seeds out last year, I remember, because I ended up with like a blank spot somewhere. I think I thought I was going to have more seeds for something, and I ran out. So for like the last 5 feet or so of a row, I threw in some Quentin Frasers. Now, they grew fine. This was a really good little bean. I think I would equate it to a Kentucky Wonder. It was kind of a little flattened green bean, not round and shaped like a pencil. It was kind of flattened, but it did fine. So I would grow it again. Oh, I've got some seeds left. I'm going to try it again. This one is called the Tobacco Bed. I had a tobacco worm seed from Sandhill Preservation. This one is called the Tobacco Bed bean. This one is called the Grandpa Bishop. I love those names. And this one is called the Seneca Cornstalk. This bean is really pretty. It's really a beautiful kind of deep maroon and kind of grayish white bean. It's beautiful. So that's Appalachian Heirloom Plant Farm. Really hope they can come back in 2023. Really hope they can come back and build their seeds up and just thrive again. I wish them well. Now, the next kind of bean I'm going to show you, I only have 5 different examples here, but they're called half-runner beans. And the difference between a half-runner bean and a regular pole bean is the half-runners kind of grow about half as big. They're not like a bush bean that'll just sit there and grow straight up. They will set off vines, but the vines only usually run about 3 feet tall. So you don't need a big tall trellis or anything to put a half runner on. It'd be a great thing to just grow against just a regular little fence in your backyard, a little metal fence. But they send out the vines. They grow about 3 feet tall, so they're a little shorter than the pole beans. They're a little larger than the bush beans. But where they differ from the bush beans is bush beans usually will, set all their fruit, which is their pods, set all their beans within about a 2-week period. You'll get this big harvest over a week or so for bush beans, and then they're usually done. The runner beans, the half runner beans, they mimic the pole beans. They're littler than the pole beans. They're not near as vigorous with their vining, but they will set their pods little at the time all the way to the fall. So you'll get your harvest a little bit at a time. The first one I have, and I really can't wait to grow this one, it's the State Half Runner. I got these from Pine Tree Garden Seeds, but for everybody whose catalogs I see this in, it's just supposed to be really, really prolific. It's supposed to put off a lot of beans. This one is called the NT Half Runner. And NT stands for non-tough. It stands for non-tough. Now, I got this from Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. You see that at the top. But if you read the history on it, a man who grows for Sandhill Preservation was actually the one who worked with this variety for many, many years, a long time ago, to really get it to be a tender bean. And so they credit him in Southern Exposure's catalog. They credit the man from Sandhill Preservation with bringing this seed back. So that's interesting to know. Now, the next half runner I have is from Annie's Seeds, and it's called a Yellow Indian Woman Bean. That's interesting. And this is a shelling bean. You grow this one. It doesn't put off a green bean that you would snap and cook like that. It's you harvest the beans out of it after you let it dry. This is called a pink half runner bean from Hoss Tools. It looks like this bean puts off varied colors. Some are deep pink, some are a light pink. And also from Hoss Tools, it's folded over, but it's from Hoss Tools, I have a Mountaineer half runner bean. And this is a 1-pound pack. that's got approximately 1,300 seeds in it. So this one will definitely make my planting here. Didn't make it this year, but it would definitely make my planting in soon, because when I have these big packs like this, that's the ones I usually try to work into my schematic. The last beans that I'm going to show you are called runner beans. We had the regular pole beans. I just showed you the half runner beans. Now these are called runner beans. And at first I thought, well, they're probably, like the half runners. They're not that much different. They just, some packages are saying runner, some are not, some are saying half runner. But I was wrong. I researched it. Again, I order things sometimes not really caring about the specific name. I just kind of, if I think the bean's interesting, I go ahead and order it. So in the course of time, I had ordered from 3 different companies runner beans, not really realizing what they were, but now I know. Runner beans, like a pole bean, they vine up. Unlike a half runner that only gets about 3 feet tall, runner beans will get about 6 feet tall. And they put off usually red flowers, but they put off flowers, beautiful flowers. And a lot of people only grow them for that reason. They don't really worry about the beans that are being produced off of them. They'll grow them for those red flowers. For instance, like the Scarlet Emperor runner bean. The Scarlet Emperor runner bean puts off these beautiful red flowers. Hummingbirds tend to love the flowers on runner beans. So a lot of people will plant runner beans to attract hummingbirds in their yard, or to feed the hummingbirds that they already have around. They'll have the runner beans grown for that reason. This one is called a Painted Lady runner bean. Painted Lady. It's a beautiful bean with beautiful flowers. And then this one is from Hoss Tools. The top is just down. But it's called a White Emergo runner bean. It kind of puts off like a limeish green bean. And I believe I read that this one puts off purple flowers, I believe. Just beautiful purple flowers. Now, a lot of your runner beans, different from some of your snap beans, I think all of the runner beans kind of have a string down the side. So you don't want to eat these beans until you de-string them. And a lot of your other varieties have kind of been bred out to where they're stringless these days, because people don't want to sit there and pull strings off of green beans like they used to. But the runner beans still have that string on there, so you do have to pull it off. And you can harvest them kind of early and eat them as green beans, or you can let them go. And they usually all have really large seeds inside of them. The Scarlet Emperor beans and the Painted Lady, they have beautiful seeds on the inside of them. So a lot of people will let them go. And you can either let them go to what they call the shell stage, which means the beans have gotten really big and puffed up on the inside. And you can just shell them before they dry and put them in your freezer, or go ahead and cook them fresh if you want to. Or you can let them go to the dried stage and then harvest the dried beans to cook if you want to, or to save for seeds. So that is all the pole bean seeds I have. I love doing pole beans. I think it's because I love walking around those trellises and just, they're eye level with you or taller than you, and it kind of puts like a shade in your garden. It helps shade some other plants a few hours a day. And I just love having that height, and the flowers and all, they're more eye level with where you're at. So I love doing pole beans, and I can't wait this year. I really only had room to do about 3 types. I'm going to do the Ideal Market, the Blue Lake, and then just for myself, I'm going to do the Blue Shakamaxon. And I look forward to being able to hopefully show you them growing really good here shortly in a few months. And I look forward to being able to show you the beans as I harvest them. I'm just getting so ready for spring, so ready. And it got cold a little bit right now, so I haven't been able to really get outside and do a whole lot. Just don't want to get out there in the cold. But I just can't wait. I'm getting excited. I'm getting ready for the spring. I hope you're getting excited about gardening. I hope you're kind of planning and looking at seed catalogs and looking at websites and ordering. Please order enough. Get enough seeds for this year. Get enough seeds maybe even to take you into next year. Not knowing, what all is going to happen with things. I think the seed companies themselves are doing okay with seeds, but you just never know weather events. I just got through telling you about the Appalachian Seed Company that had a bad year last year, so they've stopped selling this year. I know that Sandhill Preservation, when I was looking on their website last year, which was 2021, they had that wind event that came through Iowa in 2020, and it had decimated a lot of their crops. So last year when I was looking on their website, they were not selling a lot of things because it had been just wiped out. So they had to plant, let that grow. Now this year, 2022, I noticed when I was on their website a while ago, they had lots of stuff for sale. So things come and go, weather events happen. Growing things is just a chance, even for these large companies. They never know what the weather's going to do. But it's good to have seeds. I encourage you to find some companies you really like and order some seeds and just really stay stocked up. Stock up, have backup, and have a plan for growing things in your garden and having enough food for your families. Thank you so much. If you like this video, please share it. Please subscribe and follow my channel. I just enjoy doing this. I can't wait till we can really get outside more in the spring and show you everything I have going. I'm looking so forward to it. Thank you so much. I'm Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. You have a great day. Bye-bye.